So tonight we are coming together in community. And many of you know this event was postponed 3 times. I don't need to tell you why. So it feels a little surreal that we're actually doing this. We're here together celebrating 15 years of SVP Tucson. And every single one of you has been an important part of our history and is an important part of our future. So it really brings me joy to have you here with us this evening, so thank you. And tonight we are celebrating 15 years of impact, and we're releasing our 15-year impact report. And the report was inspired by one question: what is SVP Tucson's story? And we knew that the answer would be in the hearts and the minds of our investor partners, our nonprofit partners, our community partners, the greater Tucson community. And so we reached out to many of you to hear what is SVP Tucson's story. We initiated a series of interviews in the summer and fall of 2021, and those are compiled into the report that we do want you all to take with you on your way out. You're going to hear this many times. There's blue gift bags. Please take one. It has our 15-year impact report, and really enjoy hearing about the evolution of SVP Tucson. But those interviews that we had highlighted some really significant achievements. In 15 years, we have granted more than $2 million. And we have amplified those grant dollars with over 100,000 hours of professional capacity building service hours. We've supported more than 84 nonprofit organizations, and we have proven that our capacity building support works, with the organizations that we invest in seeing increases in their annual budgets, their operating reserves, and more than tripling the amount of people that they serve. But some of our most profound change has happened over the past 2 years. And so I want to take you back for just a moment to March of 2020. It was March 26th. I know, you're probably like, don't. Right back to this moment. But it was March 26th, and we were having the first of what turned out to be many SVP Tucson board meetings via Zoom. 2 weeks earlier, I had sent our staff home with this hopeful thought that we were going to be back in the office together within just a couple weeks. And at that board meeting, some questions surfaced. Will partners stay with us? Will new partners join? Can we do this work? Do we need to pause, or do we need to press forward? Is it even possible to do this work that's really relational in a virtual world? And I am so proud of the decisions that our board made that day. We decided not to back down from supporting our community, but to double down. We doubled our grant making. We started coaching and capacity building via Zoom. We didn't say, can we do it? We said, how do we make this happen? We modified work plans with our nonprofits to say, what do you need in this moment? And we reached out to former nonprofit partners and said, what do you need? And took on 3 additional capacity building projects. We held our 6th annual Fast Pitch program and event completely virtually. And some of you know that we were told it wasn't possible. But we had resounding success. We increased the program from 6 weeks to 5 months, and we quadrupled the amount of money we gave out on that stage. And our efforts have been recognized. Last year, we were recognized as Southern Arizona's Foundation of the Year. And after completing our first challenge grant from the Connie Hillman Family Foundation, where we raised $600,000 in 2 years, our friend Larry Adamson gave us a much bigger challenge grant for $2 million that we're now 5 months into fundraising. So I want to thank Larry Adamson, who's here with us tonight. There is no doubt that we should be proud of what we've accomplished. But perhaps more important than what we've accomplished is how we've made it happen. Our 15-year report is really the story of our evolution, which is still in process. Every aspect of our organization is growing and changing. And it's growing and changing to meet the needs of this community. And all of this is happening because we're listening. Now, listening isn't new to SVP. Since our inception, we've worked shoulder to shoulder and heart to heart with nonprofit leaders. But something changed in 2018 with the introduction of our coaching program. It strengthened the connections that we have with nonprofit leaders, and trust and respect, which were already there, grew deeper. And today we have over 30 of our partners serving as coaches to nonprofit employees. But the listening doesn't stop there. In 2019 and 2020, we held a series of listening sessions. We talked to business leaders, foundation leaders, government leaders, and perhaps most importantly, nonprofit leaders. And from those conversations, a path forward became really clear. Tucson needs, and Tucsonans deserve, a coordinated system of services that actually works for families. Now, this is a big and bold vision, I know that, but we've never been scared of a challenge at SVP Tucson. And quite frankly, if it's not us, then who? Because I look around this room and I see passion and I see vision and I see determination. And we know it's going to be hard, but we also know we can do it. So we've recently begun our largest initiative to date, our 2Gen nonprofit collaboration. And you're going to hear more about that from our new Vice President of Programs, Jennie Grabel, in a moment. But in short, the 2Gen collaboration is bringing leaders together to solve community problems that they can't solve alone. It's providing the resources that true collaboration takes, and it's building a system that actually works for families. But the 2Gen collaboration is just one of many ways that SVP Tucson is evolving. You've witnessed firsthand the transformation of our Fast Pitch program. I think many of you were with us on March 31st this year. And you've been a part of our shared learning journey. We have, and we continue to learn and grow together as individuals and as an organization. Our learning groups are some of our most vibrant spaces at SVP Tucson. We've begun communities of practice that are focused on coaching and facilitation, and our equity chats, which have recently been renamed Conversations That Matter, are some of our most well-attended and well-loved SVP events. It really is an honor to see our community coming together to support learning and growing. And while we've been creating change here in Tucson, our affiliates around the world, in 40 cities and 9 countries, and if I'm wrong about those numbers, Sudha will let me know. I can't keep up. They've been transforming as well. And really, the inspiring leadership at SVP International has been supporting and encouraging us along the way. She's a visionary, she's a strategist, she's a movement builder, and she is someone that I hold in very high regard, and I have had the opportunity to learn from over the past 3 years. Sudha and SVPI Network have really played a critical role in our success here in Tucson, and we've been trying to get her here for 2 years, so it's finally happening. So Sudha's going to share a few words with you about what's happening across the network, what she's seeing in philanthropy, and then we're going to sit down for a brief dialogue together. Welcome, Sudha.
Yep, my mic works. There we go. All right. It's been a while since I've been mic'd up. This is my first in person since 2019. Where did Ciara escape to? There you are. Thank you, Ciara. That was such a lovely introduction and so exciting to hear about all of the phenomenal work happening here in Tucson. I wish I could have been here 3 years ago. I think this was the affiliate that I was scheduled to meet with. I got canceled, so, all the changes, so much has happened. And, I just want to say Ciara and SVP Tucson and the work you all are doing here is such an example and such a critical part of the global leadership that we are seeing right now in philanthropy. So it's really great to be here with all of you, to be here in 3-dimension, no filters. Although now you can, tell that I got a little bit of extra Tucson sun, which I'm happy about given that I come from Seattle. So thank you all for the sunshine. I heard some complaints, but let me tell you, I am all about it. So as Ciara mentioned, I'm the CEO of Social Venture Partners International, where we lead the innovation and expansion of our network of 3,500 philanthropists across 40 cities around the globe, and growing. And I'm especially glad to be here today with SVP Tucson, since the work you all are doing locally is such an example for the network, and for our work as we reimagine giving. Before I came to philanthropy, I did a bunch of different things. I was in the nonprofit world, I was a community leader, social justice activist, I was a fundraiser, a board member, all the things you do. And I also worked in government where I was building power with and for communities of color. And at the root of all the work that I was doing, I was examining systems, trying to figure out what is happening with our systems. Why aren't they working the way that they're supposed to work? And one of the things I saw consistently in those systems is that too often, the people who were most impacted by the decisions were not the people making the decisions. Indeed, power is often concentrated in the hands of just a few to make the decisions. And frankly, philanthropy is too often the same. We have an opportunity to change both who is at the table and as a result, change the systems. We all know, and Ciara talked about this, that the pandemic of this last several years has accelerated and amplified challenges that we were already facing, whether it's climate change, racial inequality, economic inequality, gender injustices, all of those have been amplified by the pandemic. And looking back into that moment of when the pandemic first started and the racial justice reckoning of the summer of 2020, what we saw is that thousands of people were standing up and saying, I want to do something. I want to be part of changing this problem. So what did people do? In many cases, they wrote a check. And then many of those folks asked, what's next? And unfortunately, for many people, the answer was nothing. We are leaving our collective power and the opportunity for us as individuals to change those systems largely untapped. I know how good it can feel to write a check and then say, great, I'm done. I've fulfilled my obligation. But for the challenges that we're facing, we need to take that individual moment and turn it into a collective movement, like what all of you are doing here in SVP Tucson. Thank you. This has to be about an ongoing learning journey, a journey where we're working together for generations to come. It's time for us to make sure that every person who wants a role in movements for change has a role. I know that SVP Tucson is already doing this. You're already bringing those who are most impacted by systems and unjust systems to the table. You're asking community to lead the way. Now it's imperative for us to grow that movement across the philanthropic sector, where we have people with power who have benefited from the system standing shoulder to shoulder with those who've historically not benefited from the system, to share our power and our collective impact together. In my experience, when we build those spaces, the spaces where we can all come together, we can take off our single identity hat, of donor or nonprofit leader or government or business executive, and instead just be community members together, sharing our power, that's when we're able to really accelerate justice and change in our communities. And through the power of a global network, everything that you do here in a community gets accelerated across the globe. So I want you all to take a moment to really think about this. For those of you who are in the room here as philanthropists, for those of you who are in the room here as nonprofit leaders, for those of you who are in the room here as business people or community leaders, what does it look like to have a future, a movement where we reimagine giving so that you're not single identity individuals alone at a table, but we're actually a collective with all our identities and all of our expertise coming together to make the bold changes that our communities demand and need right now. Where we write a check, but we don't stop there. Where we are a community that centers the values of collective action and democratizing power. Where we're a community who recognizes and acknowledges that our philanthropy has to be accountable, that we, the philanthropists, have to transform ourselves in a learning process that never stops. And where we're a community where we center and place first and foremost the wisdom of our community leaders, to lift up and support the leadership of those who are on the front lines, to lead the way forward in our philanthropy. So, I ask you to join me. This is, something that we have to build together. So I ask you to join me here, as you all have already done by being part of SVP Tucson, in building a global movement to reimagine giving, so that we can create that future, the one that is more just, more equitable, and more connected to our communities. So with that, I will invite Ciara back up here and say thank you all for having me, and we're going to have a little
Thank you so much, Sudha. I find that Sudha always has the words, like the right words to describe what we're doing. I love hearing you speak, so thank you for this time. These are all the things that I like about public speaking here, like a tall chair and the microphone I have to hold. But I get to share it with you, so it's all good. Well, thank you so much for being here, and there's so much that I want to unpack with you, but I'm just going to keep this to 2 or 3 quick questions since we do have a lot to get through tonight. And when I think about the transformation that we've made here at SVP Tucson, I really think about the power of what we've been able to receive from the network. So sector trends, national trends, best practices, really innovative ideas. And so I'm wondering, what are some of the trends that you are seeing as you talk to individual donors around the globe?
Sure. Yeah, it's been really interesting. I think we saw so many people give, as I mentioned, in 2020. And this really consistent theme that we are hearing from individual donors, which is, what else can I do? Right? People are hungry to be part of communities. And one of the challenges, I think, is that for many people, it's unclear what the next step is. And so when we reached out, we talked to 200 donors, I think, in the spring of 2020 across the globe. And it was really consistent. People were saying, whoa, there are real challenges that I had not realized because of my economic power and privilege. And I need to do something about this. So we've seen this sort of shift, I think, in a sense of urgency from philanthropists that hadn't existed before. I also think we're seeing a huge number of donations coming in online. Probably many of you did this, right? But now it's all about being online, which is really exciting, and it's bringing in a new set of younger donors around the globe. And then the other thing that I think is really interesting right now in this moment is that we are finding people are getting to things that they didn't used to give to. So mutual aid, collective pooled giving, things that allow community to really make the decisions. That's where we're seeing individual donors saying, hey, I want to do more of that. And I hope that's true here for all of you in the room, but I think that's something that I've been excited to see change.
No, that really rings true to me here, and I think one of the most impactful things that's happened for SVP Tucson's transformation is really this idea of bringing nonprofit leaders and community voices to the table in our decision making, and it really has made a difference on where we're at today. So can you just talk a little bit more about the power of the local to global connection? Because this is something that I think about all the time, and I can come up with like a couple of like very tangible ways that it benefits us, but there's this bigger thing there. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Sure. You know, I think it is both tangible and intangible, right? For those of you who were out and about, you probably saw I brought along a few copies of our last year's report, right? Where we get to lift up and celebrate SVP Tucson. So that's something, like everything you do here has ramifications and sort of echoes out around the globe. Folks in India call me up and are like, what's SVP Tucson doing with their fast pitch? How can we learn from that? But there's also the other side of it, which is the problems we're facing in this world right now are not only local. And sometimes the best way to get to scale is by a network. It doesn't mean that we're replicating and doing the same thing in every community, but that we're connected in our learning, we're connected in our relationships, and through that we are able to get to scale to be able to tackle some of these major global challenges. That I think is the most, it's sort of intangible, but the most important benefit of the global network.
Okay, we do have a lot more we want to get to tonight, so I'm going to ask you one more question. And I just love to hear, do you have any final thoughts that you want to share with our SVP Tucson partners and friends here today?
Well, I would say two things. One, SVP Tucson, I think, as I said earlier, is one of the leaders in the network. So for those of you who have been investing in SVP Tucson, who have been supporting its growth, thank you. And also, this is a great time to be thinking about who is the friend of yours who has written that first check, who maybe is asking themselves, what do I do next? We know that those folks are out there, and it takes people like the folks who are in this room to make sure we're getting other people into the room, that we are asking philanthropists and people who may not see themselves as philanthropists to be on this learning journey together and share their power. So I would say, join, give more, get more people.
I wasn't planning on doing this, but just by maybe a show of hands, who's just joined SVP Tucson in the past 6 months? Because we have a lot of new partners. Yes. So it is happening, and I know what Sudha said, let's keep it up. So thank you so much for being here. It really is an honor to have you here in Tucson and spending time with our partners and our staff. We are going to move this program along because we have a lot to get to. And so I'm going to thank you, Sudha.
Thank you, Ciara. Thank you all.
And I'm going to go ahead and invite Jennie Grabel, our vice.
Hi. Oh my goodness, my heart is so full being in this space with all of you. I really mean that from like the deepest core. So thank you all for being here tonight, and thank you for the beautiful conversation, Ciara and Sudha. Thank you for joining us. What a treat to all be in community together. As Ciara mentioned, this is my second time joining the SVP family. I was our Director of Community Impact from 2014 to 2018. And while from the moment I left, I missed my SVP family, and Ciara and I stayed in regular contact, I had not anticipated a return to work within the organization until Ciara shared my current job description with me and the enhancement of SVP's work to include a two-gen collaboration approach. When I think, yes, clap, thank you, Liz. So when I think about the ability to create community, to mobilize and energize all sectors to do what is good and right for families, I think of SVP. You all, each and every one of you sitting here, Whether deeply engaged in nonprofit work or investing in our organization in the nonprofit sector or simply joining in tonight as a guest to learn more, you are how things get done. I am constantly reminded in my work at SVP of Margaret Mead's quote, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world." Indeed, it's the only thing that ever happens. So, yes, here we are tonight, celebrating 15 years of this community, building upon our strong foundation and our proven model of capacity building and leading, and we are expanding our programming. We are serving more nonprofits and bringing them together in new ways. Why? Because we have a community crisis. Nearly 30% of children in King County live in poverty, and 70% of adults in King County lack a post-secondary degree. Our systems are broken. They do not work for families, and we all know the more challenging the life experience, the more challenging the systems become to navigate. SVP is working with our nonprofit community to create family-focused pathways to access the services they need to thrive. So, you've heard a lot about 2Gen. What is 2Gen? 2Gen is a proven approach to building family well-being by simultaneously working with children and the adults in their lives to access new resources, solve problems, and build on existing skills. As you can see on this slide, there are 6 distinct components to 2Gen work, and as we evolve this collaboration, we'll be working to strengthen support for families in each of these areas. When these 6 components work together, families move from poverty to opportunity. Our goal is any family member connecting to any of these nonprofit services opens the door to their whole family getting support within the collaborative network with low barriers and warm referrals across organizations. And I am so thrilled and inspired to share very briefly what we have already accomplished in our work with our 2Gen collaboration. Most of this is attributed to 3 deeply committed nonprofit partners who you are going to hear from in just moments. Their commitment to learning, their willingness to dedicate their and their staff's time and expertise to this project speaks volumes, and we are so incredibly appreciative. So here's just a snapshot of what we've accomplished so far in our 2Gen collaboration. Shared learning. We have gained deeper understanding of the value, strategies, and necessity of integrating 2Gen systems and thinking within each organization. Also, through shared learning, there is now a better understanding of one another's programs and offerings, and referrals are happening between organizations. We are in the end stages of building a dynamic referral framework that will allow us to track referrals, family outcomes, and the effectiveness of the full collaborative effort. And we are ready for expansion to 5 nonprofits. Who you will meet are 2 new nonprofits in just minutes. Now, because we know we're not experts in everything, we have been working with nationally renowned 2Gen expert strategist Roxanne White, and in order to build a referral system and data collection system that is as dynamic as the organization we are working with, we have brought in evaluation experts, McCoy and Milligan Associates. We have so much to celebrate. And let us not forget that the work we're doing is hard. It is as much about listening and learning as it is about action. As we track and collect data, we will be learning and modifying our work to best serve families we are working to support.
If you'd like to learn more about 2Gen, you're invited to join us for a virtual learning session. We have this scheduled for Tuesday, May 24th from 9 to 10:30. We will record it as well. And if you'd like to join us and you know right away, please email happy@svptucson.org. So just a genuine thank you. Thank you to our partnership, to all of our community partners who make this project and work possible. And I will once again share my heartfelt gratitude to each of our nonprofit partners for their time, talent, and expertise on this project. These leaders are doing some of the most important work in our community, and I would like you to please welcome to the stage Anna Wright, CEO of JobPack, Jennie Grabel, CEO of Newspaper Books, and Tom McKinney, CEO of Face-to-Face Services.
Okay, my dear friends, thank you each so much. Anna, Jennie, and Tom, would you briefly share just a brief statement about your organization and the work that you do in the community?
Good evening, everyone. So my name is Anna Wright. I'm the CEO of JobPath. We're an organization here in the community that supports low-income adults pursuing a post-secondary degree or credential that is 2 years of duration or less. So when we're talking about workforce development training. And we support them with financial resources and coaching to make sure that they can overcome any barriers that may stand in the way of them completing their education. We have grown tremendously this year. We're going to be serving close to 670 students. Which is the most that JobPath has ever served since it's been around since 1998. So we are a well-established organization here in our community. And we're just very proud of the work that we do and the work that our students do to complete their education. They're faced with so many challenges by anything as small as a car breaking down can cause them to have to leave their classes and to leave their education. So our support is critical for them to be able to succeed. And I just want to add that the students that go through our program increase their income by $40,000 a year.
Congratulations on the expansion. Hi, I'm Jennie Grabel, CEO of Maker Books. Proud partner with SVP for many years. And so at Maker Books, our mission is to give all children that chance to read and succeed. And so we work with very little humans in order to achieve monumental change. And so we use a 2-generation approach where we're working with the child's caregiver and that child to help them develop early learning, early literacy, and social emotional skills that will put them on that path to success. And so based on, we have some great impacts to share as well. This past year we served 20,000 children, we're really proud of maintaining that in the pandemic and also growing. And many of you know we have a free app that's our gift to the world, and it's being used in 26 countries right now. So we're really pleased to be here tonight. Thank you.
I don't have a free app.
You could, but you can have.
I can now. I'm going to steal it. So I'm Tom McKinney. I'm with ICS, Education Community Services, and we are an agency that helps transition people from crisis to stability through a variety of different ways. We do that through 1,500 volunteers and 121 faith communities throughout Tucson. So we have a wide reach, a wide variety of programs. Last year we fed over 43,000 people. We helped 2,000 people not be evicted, keep their lights on, keep their water good. And close to 300 people we've helped transition from stability to crisis, finding new jobs, getting through college, a variety of things like that. So we are also a proud member of SVP. It has been an incredible experience for us to be part of this. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for all that you do and for working with us. We appreciate it so much.
Tonight, we welcome 2 new nonprofits into the SVP family. These amazing organizations will receive our capacity building support, unrestricted grant funding, and become an invaluable part of our 2Gen collaboration. Before I welcome these organizations, I know you can't wait, I do want to recognize and honor the work of our amazing investment committee. This is the group of SVP partners who come together and go through a process of selecting our new nonprofits. So, led by Barbara Harrison, our investment chair, would those of you on our investment committee please stand so we can recognize you? Thank you all so much. And thank you so much, Barbara, for your amazing leadership in the investment process. Here we are, the moment you've all been waiting for, and a moment that I am so thrilled to share with you. It is my honor to introduce representatives from our 2 new nonprofit investees and collaboration members. First, from Boys to Men, Tucson. Many of you met via basket. Boys to Men is committed to breaking harmful cycles of violence and toxic masculinity. Boys to Men's vision is that every boy has access to safe and loving men. Please welcome CEO Michael Brasher. An organization that we all know, honor, and respect, the Girl Scouts of Southern Arizona, who work tirelessly to build girls of courage, confidence, and character who will make the world a better place. Please welcome Nikki Hoffman, Chief Marketing and Fund Development Officer, representing the Girl Scouts of Southern Arizona. Welcome to SVP and our 2Gen collaboration. My heart is so full. Thank you each for joining, for believing in the 2Gen approach. We, as an organization, we, as a community, are here to serve you. We know that you are on the front line serving families. We are beyond grateful to have you as partners in our 2Gen collaboration. And as we welcome you in, what I'd love to do is hear from our current leaders, have each of you share just a little bit about your experience in the collaborations thus far. So Tom, you have the mic. Let's start with you. Okay? So, oh, go ahead. You're just gonna go.
I was just gonna talk.
I think you should. Don't let me stop you. No, really. What were you gonna share?
Well, you said, well, how was my experience with the collaboration? It's been incredible. I mean, as far as bouncing ideas off, trying things, failing, but failing as a group, and then figuring out how to move forward from that. So it's been an incredible experience, and I'm thrilled that we have 2 new partners to share in this journey.
And Tom, what is your thought about what this collaboration has the potential to do for the clients that you serve in the community at large?
I mean, the value for this for our clients is no one agency can do everything that they need, right? It's too expensive. We don't have that expertise. So when we gather around the table and we say, how can we share resources? I think that's the value for the client. They have more than one issue, more than one challenge, right? And we're not equipped to deal with all of it. But if I can deal with one and then refer somebody to Michael and say, Mike, this is a great program for you, it enhances that experience for them.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Tom. Jennie, I'm going to turn it over to you. So why is Make Way for Books a part of this collaboration?
Well, we are a part of it. I'm going to piggyback off of Tom, really, because we can't do this alone. And we meet these families, we develop these wonderful relationships with our families, and we want them to have access to every opportunity in this community that could help them on their path, right, for success for themselves, if they're a parent or caregiver, and for their child.
We want to support our families, giving them access to these wonderful opportunities. And so we couldn't be more grateful to be a part of this partnership. Another aspect of it, why I've just been exceedingly privileged to be a part of it, is the way the partnership works. So we in our program design use a method of co-design, so working with our families to bring them to the design table, and this collaboration is different. It has that approach as well, of co-design, co-creation, and so I feel that we've helped co-create something with SVP, and we're learning and growing together. Like Tom said, we're bringing ideas, we're learning and really executing a vision very collectively, which is so energizing and so cool.
Thank you, Jennie. Thank you. And Anna, what has been the most powerful thing that you've learned about the 2Gen approach through the collaborative work?
That it's hard.
Yes, ma'am.
It is a wicked problem. And the more that we try and untangle what is it that is standing in the way of us having a true collaboration and really being able to build that system that we all want to build, every time we feel like we're getting somewhere, we find a new thing that we hadn't thought of before. We find a new consideration, a new challenge. And that is why these kinds of collaborations don't exist, because they're hard. So it takes an organization like SVP that can really lead the way with the expertise and with bringing this all together, bringing together the right organizations to make this happen. And it hasn't been easy, and it'll continue to be messy and kind of squishy and just hard. And we're up for the challenge, and we're just so thrilled to be a part of this collaboration.
Thank you so much. I'm going to have you pass the mic down to Michael. So Michael, welcome to the collaboration. We are so thrilled to have you as a leader and your organization, the incredible work of Voice to Men, as a part of this work. So thank you so much for that. What's going on in your mind as you hear from these other CEOs about joining this collaboration?
First of all, I'm just really humbled and grateful to be with a group of aspirational leaders like yourselves. I agree and echo what you're sharing. Collaboration is so difficult, and it requires sort of taking our own top interests and setting them aside and thinking about how do we show up for our community. So I just know it's really hard work, but it's such a worthy challenge. I'm so grateful to be a part of it with all of you.
Thank you, Michael. And Nikki, so what do you hope that being a part of the 2Gen collaboration will do for your girls?
To say we're excited is an understatement. I've been with this organization for 15 years as an employee, but grew up in Wisconsin as a girl. And I know the challenges that we face. I know the challenges that our girls face. And, I like to say we move at the speed of growth. We're constantly evolving, and that's the beauty of our organization, is we're constantly looking at the needs of our girls and the communities and really finding ways to make sure that we are present and we are available. I grew up in a volunteer-led capacity, but knew that there was so much more. When I came on as an employee, we identified a gap. We weren't serving all of our girls. And what was that barrier? It was transportation, it was financial, it was language, they had no idea what our program was about. So we took an initiative to bring our program to our girls. So we approached the administrators and said, we have a program, what do you think? And they thought, okay, let's try it out. You can come in after school capacity, offer the girls a program, and see where it goes. Well, it has blossomed into an amazing way for our girls to participate in Girl Scouts. It's a way for us to meet our girls where they're at and give them the tools and the skills that they need to know that they can do anything that they want to do. So that's been the beauty of that, and just knowing that with this opportunity and with the 2Gen and to be able to collaborate, which is key in growing anything, is we can't do this alone. We have to do it together. But to know that this is the next step in our work is collaborating, is increasing awareness and including families with our girls, especially within our culture, my culture. Parents want to be involved. They want to know what their girls are doing. They want to trust you. So it's making those connections, but also giving the girls the resources they need, as well as the adults. And that's where this is just going to be a beautiful, beautiful partnership. And we're so excited to be part of this. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you each so much. As you can see, there is no shortage of work ahead within our partnership, and we are so excited to get you all engaged in our 2Gen collaboration as we move forward. I'm gonna invite you all to take your seats. I will do the same, and I am thrilled to hand over the mic to SVP Tucson's board chair, Erin Rottenstein, to close out the night.
I asked Lisa Hansen from Power Over Predators, how much of this did you have before you started this? Because it was really good. I kind of thought she knew what she was going to say and had 3 minutes ready to go and just kind of was going to win some money. And she froze and she looked straight at me and she said, I've been trying for 10 years to figure out how to tell the story in a way that doesn't alienate people. And through this process with SVP, I feel like I've finally found my voice. And when we talk about our nonprofit partners, when we talk about the people that they serve, when we talk about the community that we envision, I think that idea that we want to enable people to find their own voice is a perfect encapsulation of what SVP should be at its most aspirational. So now to business, I want to introduce the new members of our board. I'm really proud to talk about the board members that we've got this year for a couple of reasons. Talking about listening to the community, helping it find its voice. This year, the board of directors decided to do something new and different. We decided to prioritize making sure that representatives from the nonprofit community are actually sitting on our board and making decisions alongside us. And so, as I call your names, go ahead and stand up. Ann Hoff is a certified public accountant and accredited estate planner at Rottenstein. Hello, Santiago is the vice president of advancement at San Diego High School. And Perry Lopez is the senior manager of employee tax experience in Chicago. And go ahead and keep standing. I'm going to introduce our current board members as well. Eric Kutcher, Allison Davenport, Liz Campbell-Grossman, Corinne Ciara, Peggy Wilson, Chrissy Street, Steve Garcia, Sarah Long, and Howie Adams, who's going to be starting the second term this year. And then last but not least, Ann Bailey, who's coming off the board. Yes, so when I started on SVP's board, I was in my 20s. And I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I still don't in a lot of ways, but I've learned how to fake it a little bit better. Ann took me under her wing, and this whole time she's been a friend, she's been a mentor, she's been something aspirational that I've always wanted to achieve. And this organization, Ciara mentioned the conversations, the hard conversations we had at the beginning of the pandemic, and the really ambitious future we've set out for herself. We wouldn't be where we are today. We wouldn't have even had the questions that led us to where we are today without Ann. And I'm so grateful for everything you've done for SVP, for the community, and for me. Putting Jennie in the front row was just the best idea. Every line's an applause line, everything's just great. Going on how things are going, just love, and she's just taking it. So the impact award selected by the board of directors, and every year we give it to a partner who's gone above and beyond in their work for SVP. And I think the best part is it comes as a complete surprise to the recipient every single year. So I'm going to go through a couple of accomplishments and see how long it takes this person to figure out it's them. So in their short time with SVP, they've shown up every single day with incredible passion, insight, and consistency. Their heart is so deeply ingrained in the work done by our nonprofits and the families that our nonprofits serve. They've consistently gone above and beyond in their work in our community to support the work that they believe in. They are so committed to serving families in our community to build stable, sustainable lives. Their work in SVP's two-gen collaboration has been invaluable. They've added exponential value to the projects through their deep understanding of the work, sharing candidly and honestly about what was working and where we needed to pivot and reframe to move forward. As a member of this year's investment committee, they brought critical insight into what's currently happening in the two-gen collaboration. SVP is not the only organization they spend their time at. They volunteer with ICS, support whatever they need, often just answering phones and working their front office, while helping to support larger initiatives and strategy through our relationship building staff. I'd like to ask Brooke to come up. So I want to go back to Fast Pitch for a second and talk about that evening. And we saw on stage, and I mentioned, I thought she was going to win a lot of money, and she did. She walked away with probably what is their annual budget in big checks. But just as important in that argument, some ways even more important, is the money that those nonprofits, Lisa included, were able to raise from the audience for two reasons. One, that's truly building community. And number two, through the generous gifts of the Connie Holman Foundation, who've already been celebrated this evening. Those gifts were doubled. You guys have the exact same amount. Thank you to our partnership with the Connie Holman Foundation. You have that exact same opportunity here for the next couple of years, where every single dollar that you give to SVP is going to reach a double match and double the impact. And all I can say is that as a lifelong Tucson, as a father of two young children, and as your board chair, I'm incredibly excited that this organization is listening to the needs of the community in a way that nonprofits don't usually do, and we've adapted to them. We're giving a voice to nonprofits we partner with and the individuals and families that they serve. We're willing to take risks and make bold action to create better impact, and I'm so honored that every single one of you is on this journey with us. So please continue on that journey with us. Work where you can, give where you can, and I look forward to seeing you do this together. So thank you so much.